Star Wars. What the fuck did I do? It's tragic what's happened to Star Wars, right? Because you have Star Wars Acolytes where they're talking about an entirely new, well, I guess it's not new if you read the books, but it's a new era. Like, it's the High Republic era. And I mean, I should be hyped, but I'm not. And to be frank, I'm not hyped because Star Wars is in the shitter. Like, Star Wars have done, like, the people on over Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy has done everything in their power to shit on the IP. Like, if you were to tell me 15 years ago, yeah, and then give me the IP that is Star Wars, and been like, we want you to shit on this IP, make it terrible, I'd be like, that's impossible. Like, people will watch Star Wars just out of principle. But it turned out they really have found a way. You know, they're like, I guess they've achieved the impossible. And they've made a world-renowned IP. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if Third World Tribe in Southeast Asia hasn't heard of Star Wars. You know, but and this is the issue with Star Wars, right? Because, and I made this point in my last video, they don't want fans anymore. Like, they do not want people who are invested. Like, they're putting in time, money, and effort to ensure that you are no longer invested. Like, most of the fans are invested in to what Star Wars used to be, not what it is now. Right? They want the people that just shut the fuck up and consume. You know, this is their new market. The normies, the people on Twitter that will go out of their way to defend them, like the PR arm of the multi-billion-dollar American company. Like, this is what they want, right? And it's like, congratulations, you got these people. I mean, again, the fans are shitting on the IP. You know, they're watching people shit on the IP, and they're having a hell of a lot better of a time shitting on Star Wars, or at least what Star Wars is now, than actually watching the TV shows and watching the movies. Because, and I made this point probably in a couple of videos, it's like there's no difference between what Star Wars is now and like fan fiction. Like, that's what the IP is, just Kathleen Kennedy's fan fiction of sci-fi. It's like, okay, well, I was also told that Rey in Star Wars was a Kathleen Kennedy, well, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, add-in? Like, it's supposed to be Kathleen, like, Rey's a vessel, right? And you're supposed to inhabit the vessel. It's why Rey in Star Wars had no personality, right? And I'm not shitting on the actress. Like, she did a fine job. It's just the character herself is trash. Like, she has no character, right? That's why they needed plot reasons to give her the force powers. They needed plot reasons to let her prevail, right? They had to do everything in their power to make their own comments and shit on the IP. And again, Force Awakening was alright for the beginning of the trilogy, but where it ended, it was trash. And again, you have Kathleen Kennedy herself being like, oh, we have no source material, as she's standing in front of a bookshelf full of source material when they were doing that interview with her. It's like, dude, they think you're a child. Like, they think you're a fucking idiot, right? They think we can do better with the LucasArts IP. We can do better with Star Wars. And if you don't like it, oh, I guess you're sexist. Or, oh, well, I guess you're racist. Oh, I guess your insert morally charged label here. Ist. And again, people, again, the opposite of love isn't hate. The opposite of love in this situation is indifference. Like, people do not care enough to hate Star Wars, is the problem, right? Maybe you might get 2 out of the 10 people who probably watch this TV show, and maybe a third of that person is a legitimate sexist and racist. But at the end of the day, he's also a consumer, right? Like, we don't live in this system where racists and sexists just aren't allowed to consume, right? I think as a business, you're selling a fucking product, right? You're not selling ideology. That's not the point. That's not why Disney exists. That's not why you're that's just simply not why you're here. You're here to sell a fucking product. And if you cannot do that, maybe you just shouldn't be. Like, maybe another company should take the reins if you're just incapable. If you lack the ability to do so. Maybe another company should just take it. Well, what am I talking about? Like, the new way to do business is like the Microsoft thing where you suck up game companies, you suck up IPs, and you just sit on them. You sit and you fart on them so nobody else can have them. Like, nobody else can make money. And again, this is why IP adjacent markets should exist, right? This is why, like an IP adjacent, Warhammer 40k should exist, or an IP adjacent Warhammer Fantasy should exist. This is why an IP adjacent Star Wars should exist, right? So in case Star Wars goes into the shitter, people have something else to fall back to. Because again, at the end of the day, people want entertainment, right? And I think people should be allowed to have that entertainment. But again, they spend time, money, and effort just to vilify people for no reason. To be like, oh wait, no, I guess this isn't your entertainment anymore. Despite you, who probably, if I was to take all the times I've watched the movies and the TV shows and the games, if I was to accumulate that time, only the time of that in numerical value, like, I'd say I probably spent like hundreds of thousands of hours just consuming, right? Because I used to like Star Wars, right? Like, I would swear off other sci-fi genres because I was like, oh no, they're just trying to be Star Wars, so I'm not gonna like Star Trek. Oh, just trying to be Star Wars. No, thank you. Or Battlestar Galactica. Nope, trying to be Star Wars. No, thank you. Right? Or Deep Space Nine. Nope, trying to be Star Wars. No, thank you. But now that Star Wars is going into shit, it's like now I'm actually looking at these IPs like I'm watching through Star Trek. Like, I watched through Andromeda, pretty good. And I might go to Farscape next after, but I mean, I think I'm on the 4th season of Star Trek New Generation. I watched all of like the 1970 something version of it. It was pretty good. But yeah, I mean, again, then that's the part of living in a capitalist system, right? Is you have the ability to choose. The only problem is companies make it difficult. Like, the problem with this system is that there are so many rules and regulations slapped upon like creators, slapped upon like game developers, right? And even slapped upon foreign companies. Like, people legitimately believe like anime should be thrown to the lowest denominator, that is Western entertainment, right? Like, people legitimately believe this. This is why no one wants fucking normies in anime. Like, I play fucking Nikkei Goddess of Victory. And some of the people on Twitter were like, you shouldn't tell a lot of people about this game. Right? And I was like, oh, I mean, I only have a YouTube channel of like 32 people. It's like, oh, okay, that's fine. I was like, but why don't you want people to know? And they're like, well, we don't want normies. It's like, you don't want normies? What do you mean? It's like, well, yeah, because when normies get into something, they demand that thing change if they don't like it. Or if they see something they don't like. And at first I was like, well, change to fit, you know, the demographic is fine, right? But you see so many things that have gotten popular and they only universally change for the worse. Like, again, people, and it got to the point where people who do not partake, like for video games, people who do not participate in gaming want games to change. They want rules and regulations slapped on games, regardless. Even though they do not play video games. And I gotta make this into another video, like all the red tape and all the stipulation that's on just making a video game. You know, above the 40 grand it's in the couple of years it takes. All the rules you have to adhere to. Some of them are just blatantly idiotic, but are 100% enforced by, again, whole world governments. And it's very odd. But enough of that. Anyway, what I have to say about Star Wars Acolytes is, I think the first 2 episodes are out, and I just do not care. Like, I care so little that I don't even care to watch people shit on Acolyte. Like, I don't know, I watched Angry Joe on it, like his non-spoiler review. And no, I might just watch the spoiler review, because why the fuck not? But can't say I really care. That's all I gotta say about this. Peace. Let's do that.